We have our own drone expert. His name is Brett Velakovich, who's a frequent guest on this program, and this guy knows drones. So come on in, Brett. How do you identify and stop a drone if it's anywhere near an airport?
Well, it's good to see you again, Stuart. Thanks for having me back. Well, I think the first step to address that question and any potential drone threats is through detection. We need to know what's above us. We need to know why. We need to know who's flying it. And I think we're finally starting to see some of that data shake out. For instance, White Fox Defense Technologies, which is a developer of drone tracking technology based in California, just released the first ever cloud-based drone detection system called Stratus. And they've deployed these sensors all across the United States to listen for drone activity. And what they found is pretty alarming. It should be a serious concern for big businesses and government. For instance, you mentioned LAX. White Fox found that drone incursions over the restricted airspace nearly tripled from 2019 to 2020. You had, even in April alone, over 1,100 flights. And so these sensors that are out there are seeing this same scenario play out in nearly every metropolitan area, especially Manhattan, where we've seen a steady increase in year-over-year of drones flying in restricted airspace over commercial businesses. Frankly, I don't think major companies have any clue just how much data is being collected on their operations from above. And I think we have to do better and move to protect our national infrastructure as a whole.
Okay, just suppose, for example, that I'm in an airport, I'm in the control tower at LAX. That warning system tells me, hey, we've got a nasty looking drone coming right at us. Are we in a position to stop that drone, shoot it down? Are we?
The technology is sure there. Absolutely, the technology is there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of regulations and laws that exist that stop, for instance, airport security to be able to use what's called mitigation software to knock that drone out of the sky. Now, we see this stuff employed overseas. For instance, when the Iranians use drones to try and conduct attacks, we see that technology out there for the most part. But in the U.S., they're unable to use that, and that has to change. It absolutely has to change. And it's really going to take the regulators to get to work and stop wasting everyone's time to get that fixed. Because right now we can just detect the drones. And frankly, the truth is the U.S. government, they don't have any clue how many drones are flying or what they're doing around the area. You've got federal officials that are concerned drones are flying across the border, smuggling contraband. You've got the Department of Homeland Security testing out these detection systems because there's just such a large threat that, frankly, I don't think anyone has their mind wrapped around it.
Well, Brett, if I got a drone, am I allowed to fly over, say, the Colonial Pipeline? Am I allowed to do it?
So I don't know the Colonial Pipeline specifically, but if it is a restricted area, government site, stadium, locations that are more, federally secured, absolutely, it's illegal to fly over that. But we're still seeing drone incursions. For instance, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, I think over the last decade, saw over 50 drone flights over these restricted
Does anybody
areas.
get fined, Brett? I mean, if you can identify the owner of the drone, and I think you can these days, do you haul them in and say, you're fined $1,000 for flying over that airspace?
Well, the FAA does have laws to do that, but the issue right now is that we're getting a lot of these pilots that are clueless and careless, and they don't even necessarily know they're flying in restricted airspace. But then on the other hand, you have these major threats, and we can point to incidents overseas where, you've got Iranian proxy groups that are having drones slamming into oil pipelines, and it's causing this massive, hundreds of millions of dollars to be lost in the global economy. And those are the ones that we've got to be on the lookout for because, it's only a matter of time before they start using that, against U.S. interests.
Brett Velakovich, another threat that we all face. Thanks for joining us and telling us about it. Come on back soon. I want more on this. Thank you.